Head over to miniaturemarket.com where they have thousands of board games at discounted prices, and you can sign up for product alerts. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going to be going over my top 5 card games of 2022. This was a great year in gaming, and some years I basically just have one card game that's the best. This one, there's a lot of really good ones, and so I want to highlight all these for you. So here we go.
Number 5.
This first one is from 25th Century Games. It is called Longboard. This is a Reiner Knizia design. This game has a Lost Cities feel. It plays 2 players very well, but it also plays more than 2 players. So if you like Lost Cities, but you have more than 2 players, this should be one that you're checking out. So it has that Lost Cities feel, but you're trying to create like these long boards, these surfboards of different colors, and you're kind of making them longer, longer, longer. And much like Lost Cities, when you play one, you can only play a number that's equal or higher. Now, Lost Cities, you have to play one that's higher. This one, you can go equal or higher. And each of the boards themselves have stickers, and those are going to be points at the end of the game. But you're also going for objective cards, which change every game. Like you might want to have the longest orange board, or the board with the least amount of stickers, or all sorts of different things. And these change each game. So you're going for those end game goals, but everyone's sort of going for those. Basically, you get 2 actions. You're either going to take a card, or you're going to, from a deck, or you can trade cards with equal or higher value than a single opponent's board. Because you have boards that you're building, but then you also have your own personal supply that is sort of in front of you. But other players have supplies too, and if they're in your supply, they could possibly be stolen. So you could take like a 2 and a 5 from yours, give it to someone else, and take their 7. Now, it's not their board that they've already created, it's just like in their supply. So you have like a temporary storage area that may or may not get stolen from you, but you can do that to get the board, and you get to place it right on your board when you take it from someone else. So there's a little bit of take that, but you know it's possibly coming. You can see what they're building and see, hey, if this is in my thing, they're probably going to take it soon, so I better use it. Stuff like that. It's really interesting. Your supply is temporary, but it can be stolen. But it actually adds a lot to the game. You can either take from your own supply, start a new board, or add to a board. It's really clever. Again, it has that sort of tension of like, hey, I got to go up. I'm trying to get these goals. I'm trying to get stickers, but I'm also trying to steal things at the right time and protect mine when I don't want them to be stolen. It's fun. Long board, quick, easy little card game. If you like Lost Cities, gotta check it out.
Number 4.
This next one is essentially Gamer War. This is called Challengers. This came out from Z-Man Games. This is a fun game because you can play with a ton of players. I think it plays up to 8 players. And you're sort of like building a deck. Over the course of the game, you're going to be getting cards, and you're trying to get cards that sort of combo well together. But once you've built that deck, you sit in front of a player and you play a mini game that takes like 3 to 5 minutes. And that game is literally flipping your card and playing until you have a combined numbers that's bigger than your opponent's. When you do, you have the lead, and they send their player to their bench. But now they're gonna have to beat the one that you have, and they're flipping things. And it's just like numbers, you're just flipping war, but hopefully you've built a deck that works well together. And seeing what happens, and it has these fun moments, has these stand-up moments. And you're trying to either outdo your opponent or make it so they have too many players on their bench that you've beat. And then when that round's over, that's great. You'll get some new cards. You can thin your deck out and get rid of cards you don't want. And then you play somebody else. And you do like this sort of like round robin thing where you're getting up and you're moving around, you're playing. It's a very fun, quick tournament style game that takes only 45 minutes to play total. It's fun. It's a blast. If you don't take it seriously and you just want to be like, hey, let's build a deck and see what happens and have some fun with it. This has that event style feeling about it. It has like a buzz with it. Challengers from Z-Man.
Number 3.
This next one is a small game that I got from Gen Con. It was on my most anticipated Gen Con list. I bought this one there. It was really small. Really good game. This game is beautiful, and it has a fluctuating market where you'll be influenced in that market. So what you'll be doing is you can play a card into your own tableau, and you're only going to score if that card is in 3rd or 4th place, because there's like 4 different levels of tulips, and they're going to be, again, changing with the market. So you can just take a card and put it in front of you, which is important because if you have the highest values, total of a certain tulip at the end of the game, you get a certain amount of points depending on what place it's in, first, second, third, or fourth. So you can play a card in front of you and just score points for it, but only if it's like one of the worst ones at the time. Or you can give a card to an opponent and add it to their tableau, but you get to gain points equal to the value. So it's like, hey, I'm going to score 4 points, going to give you a 4, but guess what? It's in last place now, right? And they're going to be trying to manipulate that and try to get that up into the market. You can add a tulip to the market. You can do it 2 different ways. You can do it like just where everyone can see it, and then you automatically update the value. So hey, maybe I got a lot of blue tulips. I'm going to add with it to the value, try to get it up to the top, because at the end of the game, if I'm still in the lead with blue tulips, the better it is and the higher it is in the market, the more points I'm going to get. But you can also do it secretly, face down. And this reminded me of like Biblios, where you're putting things face down. At the end of the game, a certain amount of cards will be randomly selected from that face down and will influence the market as well. It's really interesting. It has some Biblios feels there. It's a really clever fluctuating market, small little card game. Takes 20 minutes to play, and I think it's a lot of fun. It's a gift of tulips.
Number 2.
This next one is a trick-taking game called Twin Palms. This is from Bink Inc. And this is a fun little trick-taking game. I call this sort of the Swiss Army knife of trick-taking games, because you can play an introductory game, a standard game, an advanced game, or an extreme game. And they have scaled the game to play with different ways, depending on how many suits you play with, depending on some of the rules in the game. It is a fun trick-taking game because it's like a match between trick-taking and playing poker without the bluffing. And what I mean by poker is like poker hands. Like, hey, Twin Palms is the name of the game. Having twin palms, or 2 palms of the same number, is the best ranking suit. So if I have 2 7s in palms and you have 2 10s in palms, you'll win. But if I have 2 1s in palms and you have 2 10s in sunglasses, the palms win. And there's a ranking of the suits and whether they're pairs or or not. And so the cool thing is you're playing 2 cards at a time, and you can pick any 2 cards in your hand, and it's fun because you're bidding for your tricks, just like normal trick taking. You're also betting, which is an advanced thing you can do in the games. You can bet on your tricks as well, that you're going to make your bid. And you have 2 cards that sometime you might want to use these 2 to make yourself win this trick, but you might want to purposely lose the trick because you've already made your bid, and you use these 2 cards that don't go together well. This game has the most flexibility of any trick-taking game I've played, and it's really creative in that realm. And the fact that you can play with any range of players, someone that's never played trick-taking to like hardcore sharks, fantastic. Twin Palms, check it out.
Number 1.
Now, before we get to the headliner for this video, I wanted to let you know that if you like my content, you can now get exclusive content, as I just launched a Patreon campaign where you can see my first impressions on games days or weeks before the reviews, or even tons of games that never do get a featured review. You can vote on which games I'm going to review, watch me open packages from publishers as I guess what's in there, and you'll get access to my videos and an audio podcast of those videos a day before they go public. And if this sounds interesting to you, you can enjoy this exclusive content all while supporting me and the channel at patreon.com/GameBoyGeek. All right, here we are, my number 1 card game of the year. Now, this one was brought to me directly from Richard Garfield, actually. He contacted me and said, hey, I've been involved with this game. I think it's really special. Want to take a look at it? I was like, yeah, sure. It showed up, and it was small little tuck box. I'm like, okay. And it took me a while to get to it because I was just busy, and it's just like whatever. I was just so busy at the time. But I finally got around to playing it, and man, am I glad I did. This game, I'm gonna get hate in these comments. And I must say, this is co-designed by Richard Garfield. The designers of the game, from what I gather from what Richard told me, had the game sort of well designed, and they asked Richard what he thought, and Richard sort of helped tune the game and do things like this. But his name's on it, so I'm going to go ahead and say it. This is my favorite Richard Garfield game. Yes, Magic the Gathering people are going to be burning me a hole in my head with lasers. Mindbug is a dueling card game co-designed by Richard Garfield where you're trying to play cards to deplete your opponent's life to 0. Games are really quick. You only have 3 life points and totally 10 cards, 5 of which are in your hand at the beginning of the game. Turns are very simple. Play a card or attack with a character. Maybe they play this and another player plays this. But if this player now attacks, well, it beats it 10-3. It's defeated, but it's poisonous, so this card dies as well. So when this player played this character, well, that player played the Mind Bug, which steals that card from that player, puts it on their side as if they played it, and now this player gets to play again. But you only get 2 of these, so you're trying to find the right time to use it and draw them out from your opponent to put your best cards right after that. Now with the different abilities, smaller cards aren't always bad. It's always the right card based upon what your opponent has. A brilliant design. This game is so clean, so streamlined. I don't like combat card games. I love this game, and it's a combat card game. The artwork's awesome. The clever twist in this game is that if I play a card, you can use one of your 2 Mind Bugs, which is the name of the game, to take that card and put it in your area as if you played it, which is crazy, because when you play a card, you're gonna be like, do I have a backup for this? Do I have something that I can defend my own card with? Because if they take this and I don't have a defense for it, I'm hosed. So it's interesting because you try not to play your hand all the way out. Sometimes you try to play cards that you want them to think, this is my big attack. So they waste their Mind Bugs. Well, not waste, they use them. And then you can hit them with the thing that's really gonna cause them to go down. It's so clever. There's no resources to keep track of. There's no costs to play the cards. You're simply either playing a card or attacking with the card. When you attack, the other player gets to decide who defends. If the number's higher, they die. That's it. But the abilities of these cards and the way that these things interact, by the way, if you're gonna get this game, they also offer an upgrade pack, which basically doubles the number of monsters and cards that are in the game, and it's not that much more. If you're gonna get this, get the upgrade pack. The game is quite fine by itself. The base game's awesome. It's just fine. You'll love it that way too. But it's an incremental extra cost, and it really makes the game a lot better. I also had a promo card here with my dog Socks, my Greyhound dog, in this game as well, which makes me love it even more. But wow, combat card game that I never thought I would like this type of thing, but it is so streamlined, so elegant, so approachable, but yet so deep in what you can do. And I just love that any given card can be the best card in the game depending on what's out there. And that's fantastic. You don't get hosed because you have a 1. The artwork's awesome. It's just fantastic. Check out Mind Bug. It has feelings of me for Baseball Highlights 2045, which is my favorite game of the year because of that whole, I'm trying to draw out your best card. I'm trying to draw out your defense, which in this case is like a Mind Bug, and then hit you with what I really had planned. It's really clever. And it takes like 20 minutes to play. It's fantastic. Mind Bug. All right, there is my top card games of the year. I hope this helped you brought attention to some games you maybe not had heard about, or maybe put some things back on your map that you heard about, but you hadn't really, learned too much more about it. It's been the Game Boy Geek, breaking down barriers, growing relationships with board games by helping you find the next one you'll love. Game Toppers not only transforms your existing table to a high-quality gaming solution, they now offer full leg kits and dining cover solutions for the full table application. Paired with their amazing, thematic, premium stitch edge mats from noted board game artists like Vincent Dutray, collapsible cup holders, and really cool accessories, it's a complete system that upgrades every game you play. Go to GameToppersLLC.com or click the link below to late pledge for their latest Game Topper 3.5 Kickstarter campaign.